Hey 7 College Nerds, it's Monday, March 19th, and in honor of the Hunger Games, we are making bread this week. Because, everybody loves pita and other various bread sources. Oh, it's a cheesy joke. But anyways, today I'm going to be showing you a bread mix that I had found in the supermarket today. And it is called Bob's Red Mill Homemade Wonderful Bread Mix, which also happens to be gluten-free. Though, I'm kind of cool with the wheat products, just that this happens to be gluten-free. I decided to do a little curveball and try something that I haven't done before. So yeah, let me show you what I've already got laid out for you guys. Alrighty, first things first is I unloaded most of the contents of the bag into this here big old bowl. And there also came this nice little packet of Gourmet Perfect Rise yeast, which I placed in 1 2/3 cup of milk. Yep, it's been bubbling like that for the past 5 minutes. This milk also happens to be warm. It's around 110 degrees. And then also I have some beaten up whites of egg and 1 whole egg in here as well. And, ooh, my dog's growling. The yeast has been sitting in the milk for the past 5 minutes, bubbling over and stuff. We're just going to add all of the contents right on into this here mix. So we're going to dump this and all its yeasty awesomeness and stuff. We're going to take the eggs and dump that in there, as well as the vinegar. You guys remember Courage the Cowardly Dog? Like, Muriel from there was always obsessed with vinegar. She even put it in a fabric softener. I really love that show. It was so creepy, but I enjoyed it. And then we're also going to add in the butter, which you could also use oil with, but I prefer the taste of butter. So we're just going to dump that in there. And we're going to mix it on up with our handy dandy fork. Now that this concoction is roughly mixed, we're going to beat it into submission with this nifty little mixer for about 3 minutes. And then we're going to head on over to the next step. Alright, let's get this party started. Alrighty, now before I tell you about this step, I should warn you that that mixing thing right there, that could actually cause a little bit of a situation because this is such a thick mix. So just be aware of that and make sure that your mixer can take it, because now mine is smoking a little. Not like a fire kind of smoke, but like it's been on its last haunches for a while. Next we're going to take a nice good old 9 by 5 inch bread pan, and we're going to dunk all of our goodness into there. And we're going to take a nice wet spatula and we're going to smooth out the top. Now the wetness will help stop from sticking, so we're just going to do that. And oh, by the way, this 9 by 5 inch pan happens to be greased up with margarine. You could use whatever you would like, grease, oil, whichever suits your fancy, but like I said earlier, I love the taste of margarine. Just going to wet that up again because it's sticking a bit. Yep. So we're just going to do that. Now you're just going to lay some foil, which is greased with my favorite margarine, and I'm just going to lay it on top and close it out. Alright guys, for this next part of the recipe, this is going to seem a bit silly, but I have to do it in my bathroom because this happens to be the warmest room in the house because I've got the ceiling heater going, and the recipe calls for the bread to be in a place that is 75 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and the rest of my house is a balmy 65. So that's why we're chillaxing in here, and my bread is right there on the sink sill. So we're going to be in here for 10 minutes. Yay! Hooray for the last day of winter and all that jazz. We had to wait a little longer than expected. It's been 25 minutes. It said 10 minutes or until the yeast started to make it rise, so that way it would go past and hit the foil, which it has happened finally. So now we're going to put this into our preheated at 375-degree oven right here, just like that. Put it right there nicely in the center, and we're going to leave it like that for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to put this back on. And overall, this should be in the oven for about 60 to 65 minutes, and you really want to make sure that you're not going to undercook this baby. That would be unpleasant. Alrighty now, so while we're waiting for the bread, which I had just refoiled and I put back into the oven, and I re-greased the foil, by the way, because you don't really want that stuff sticking onto the crust. That just wouldn't be fun. But anywho, the reason why I refoiled it was because the directions said that you don't want the crust to get really hard when it's in the oven for 60 to 65 minutes, so that's why it's all up in there. But anywho, I am making this little part of the video because I didn't make my video last week because I had mentioned in the think tank that my Wednesday was nuts. Like, it was really jam-packed. So I apologize for that. But, anywho, last week we were talking about how the Hunger Games is important. And I do most definitely agree with all of your statements, guys. But to Rosilda and Busy, I really do think that this is a foreshadowing for the future. Because, oh heavens, just look at reality TV and, like, Keeping Up with the Kardashians and, you know, Survivor or The Amazing Race. Like, it's just people, like, just doing crazy shenanigans. Like, the thing about those shows, though, is that you usually have to jack it up a notch for, like, the next coming up series because it's so competitive, the whole reality TV genre. And, oh goodness, it's horrendous. And I really do think it's terrifying. And who knows, maybe one day we will get to the point where people will be duking it out to the death. I mean, we went there before with the gladiators, and the Hunger Games is loosely based about the Minotaur, you know, the Greek myth about the Minotaur, and how 12 youths from Athens would be sent to Crete and put into this big maze where a Minotaur would kill them. Well, who knows, maybe history could come to repeat itself, which would be horrific. But books like The Hunger Games, or Battle Royale, or, goodness, there's, like, a bajillion others. Like, I think it's important to remember these books, and right now, Hunger Games is at the peak right now. Or, who knows, maybe it's still rising up for the peak. You know, got 2 other movies, or however well the first Hunger Games movie does, which, can I just say, it's really hard to find adult-size overalls for my minor costume. Like, it's horrendous. But I'm deterring from the subject at hand. But it's important to keep on your mind that things like this maybe could happen. And it might not just be only fiction. Or at least I hope it'll stay fiction for a good long while. Or forever. Fingers crossed. So here's a hoping that we're never fighting to the death and all that jazz in an arena, because that would be horrible. But anywho, I'm going to go do dishes because this left a lot of dishes in the wake. So, see you guys in about 50 minutes when this bread's out of the oven. An hour later, my bread is out of the oven, and you just want to make sure that it is nice and hard, just like that. And so I'm just going to take a knife, soften up all the edges, and I'm going to put it right on over here to cool off. And then once it's fully cool, I can just carve on into it and eat the carby goodness that it is. Oh, it is warm right now, so I just gotta wait for it to cool off. But yeah, there you go. There is my bread for Bread Week. Alrighty now, Alex, we will see you tomorrow, and DFTBA. And happy almost springtime!